Hi, friends. Logan Clements here with the Better Events Podcast. And this week's episode is another fun annual episode that Mary and I are doing all about goal setting. Now, we are going to listen back to our goals that we had said back in January 2024, give you an update on how we did on them, and reveal our new goals for 2025. This is both a fun kind of time capsule episode if you are invested at all in what Mary and I are doing outside the podcast, but also a good exercise for you to take time to reflect and think about some of your own goals, maybe get a little inspiration from ones that we set, because we know January is just a great time of year to set yourself up intentionally for your events that you're doing through the rest of the year. So without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Better Events Podcast. Join two event strategists, Logan Clements and Mary Davidson, who believe we can all create, host, and attend better events. In this podcast, you will learn about event strategy and actions that you can use today as an event host, planner, or manager. Hear directly from the people who are creating innovative and inspiring events today and tomorrow, and grow your business along the way. Now, let's get started, and thanks for listening to the Better Events Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week at the Better Events Podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about the favorite thing, goal setting. But stick with us because this is kind of a fun episode that we like to do where we reflect and listen to past goals and react and then share some new ones. So hopefully this is going to be helpful for you as well. But before we get into it, of course, we have our conversation starter. And today's maybe on the side of a little negative, but it's good to cover both sides. So our question today is, Logan, what's something that you're worried or nervous about for this year?
Oh, where to start? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we figured, listeners, it was good to get you, like, when we get vulnerable here. I right now I'll say what's top of mind that I'm worried and anxious about. I've alluded to it a little bit at the podcast. Is I'm going through. I've got a family member who's having some really intense health challenges this time of year, and it started last year, and it'll definitely continue to impact us this year, and I would even say beyond. And so I've been really worried about how to balance that and my business and showing up for my family and my partner. And also, though, showing up for myself and finding that, like, I think I've discovered recently, work is a nice outlet. So I'm not saying I should stop one and focus all on the other. But I've just been trying to figure out that balance. And as of right now, balance looks like just being honest with the people that I'm working with and interacting with on a daily basis so that they know at least broad strokes what I'm going through behind the scenes, so that should something happen and I have to change my plans, because, listeners, I'm a planner, surprise. And this kind of health crisis is causing me to not really be able to plan at all. And that is really something that I'm struggling with. So trying to figure out how to navigate that. But I will also say the uptick and positive is I feel very fortunate to have my own business and have the flexibility that I can work from anywhere. So that's kind of my dual two-sided it. Mary, how about you?
I love it. Mine, I'm like, oh, which one do I pick? But I think I'm worried about I just want to make more money. So I think a lot of us can resonate with that. Normally, I'm not a monetarily motivated individual, but like in my personal life, my husband is trying to go off part-time and do some more stuff on his own. And he has been, like, he's actively doing some consulting and stuff on his own for his industry. And so I want to be able to be the one to support him now so that he can pursue this, because he's supported me while I've tried to do this. And so because of that, I'm just like, I'm excited for that for him, but I'm like nervous because now I need to step up a little bit and support him. And I'm happy to do it, but don't get me wrong, I'm a little nervous about it. And so that definitely plays into business and work and all those things. So it's lingering in the back of my mind a little bit. So a little nervous going into the new year with that.
Thanks for sharing, Mary. Yeah, the money makes anyone nervous regardless, and trying to make more of it can always be daunting. But listeners, we're talking about goal setting this year, and we love setting goals. We've been doing this since 2022, Mary, and we have seen that speaking our goals into being often works, but I will caveat, not 100% of the time, because you can go back and listen to the full episode 140, which shares all of our goals that we had for 2024, as well as you can see how we did from our 2023 ones. But what we're going to do here is we are going to actually listen back to what we said in January 2024, let you know, update you how we did, and then we will end with our new goals for 2025. So before we do, though, Mary, you want to give folks a little reminder about BepCon?
I do. Before we get into our recordings, I'm going to tell you about other recordings, which are Better Events Conference recordings. So if you were able to attend the conference, you can still purchase those recordings from the conference from our virtual day by visiting bettereventspod.com/conference. So we'd love for you to see that content. It's pretty good. We're not going to lie. So feel free to check it out there if you'd like to purchase those recordings.
All right. And now it is time to travel back in time. Mary, we're going to listen to your first goal from 2024. You ready?
Woo, ready. Let's do it.
Here we go.
My first goal for 2024 is to read more books and listen to more podcasts. This year I kind of took not a break, not an intentional break. I just found myself not really like listening to other content as much as I typically enjoy. And so, yeah, that's really as simple as that. I don't know that I want to put a number to it, but I want to read more books and listen to more podcasts. So,
how do we do, Mary?
I think we did. I didn't give a metric, so I think we did. Yeah, I definitely think we did. In fact, I started using this little app, which I'll tell you about in a second, actually, because this is a great tip. But one of those things is that as I like get ready for the day, like do my hair and stuff before I go to work, that I want to like listen or learn about something. And so I've been able to do that more intentionally during that time, which has allowed me to listen to audiobooks or listen to podcasts. I haven't sat down and read many books, but I'm gonna say it's, kind of a win. Been a little intentional. Yeah.
I am, maybe it's controversial, but I am in the camp that listening to a book counts as reading a book. It is the same. Everybody's just different.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And before we move on, let me just say this app that I love is called Me Plus. I'll link it in the show notes because it's kind of weird. And when you like log into it, it says it's going to charge you, but it like you could do it for free. You just don't follow like the links to get charged. And you get to like, if you're on YouTube, you get to like put like things that you want to do every day, and you can check them off throughout the day. So I have like my days starting with like I want to exercise, or if I'm not exercising, then a journal, and then I can check it off when I'm done. And it just looks cute. You can color code it for each day, and you can also make it a widget on your phone, which I do, so you can check it off as you're going throughout your day. So just like an extra tip for you. It's kind of fun.
Look at that. Yep. Mary will link it in the show notes for everybody. All right. Here's my first goal from 2024. I'm going to kick off my first goal for 2024 with my word, which I did put this on my Instagram stories at one point to ask for feedback because I was trying to figure out a word. I was inspired by Shannon Doa of the Beyond the BEO to kind of crowdsource that a bit. She blew my mind by coming back to me saying that she's chosen a phrase. So good on you, Shannon Doa, for a phrase. But mine, the word that like popped into my head and is sticking, again, last year, 2023 was cultivate. 2024, it's going to be savor. Savor is my word of the year. And this is mainly because I feel like I want to slow down. And I had some really cool projects in 2023 that I remember consciously having to be like, you're gonna miss this time. So like have a moment, like be present. And as a goal, I guess a smart goal that will come off of savor is that I want to add on 3 personal trips or excursions to work trips this year. So I want to take a little time when I can. I'm going to try to be intentional about it so I can savor the time that I'm already on the road for work. I might as well tack on and see some friends in the different cities I travel to.
Ooh, how'd you do, Logan?
I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm not going to say I have it in writing that I did 3, but I did 3. I did. I achieved that. That was I will say, I think I know for sure of 2 because I had Archie, my partner, come visit me while I was on site for an event during a period where I had some downtime. And that was amazing and really fun. And then another one where I got to tack on a visit with some friends on the tail end of a work trip. So, yeah, I feel like I got that one. Savor was like my word was really high in my like brain for most of the year. I feel like I just constantly was thinking of like just trying to savor the moments. I had a lot of really cool events in 2024, and I feel like I did slow down, like and actually take it in.
I think that's amazing, and I'm really glad when I heard you say that. I was like, oh, I hope Logan's done that because it seems like a great thing for you to be able to do. So that's awesome. Way to have a win. Calling all event professionals. Meet Event Pro Suite, the ultimate time saver for your busy schedule. This powerful system combines all the essential tools you need into one streamlined platform, cutting costs and slashing setup time, which really is so true. We were able to do a demo of Event Pro Suite, and one of the things that I loved is the opportunity to collaborate with teams. And so this is really wonderful if you're working with contractors or you have internal team members. You can bring them all into this one inclusive system, and you can also work through different pipelines of revenue. So if you have a pipeline that is just event planning or you do something else for revenue, you can divide up your projects in that way as well.
Yeah, I loved that and Mary, but I also, from a marketing background, thought it was super cool that it also included a full suite of marketing tools, from how to post on social media to your email management, photo management, which is cool, like you mentioned, for teams, as well as website updates and hosting. So if you are ready to elevate your game, well, try Event Pro Suite today and watch your efficiency and creativity skyrocket. Visit eventprosuite.com to learn more. Let them know that the Better Events podcast sent you.
And I think that means we are going to listen to my second goal from 2024. My next one, I should have started with this since you did, but we're going to go back. So I do have a word for 2024 as well, and it is calm. Feels weird, maybe a weird word, but what I mean is I think it will be crazy, but I want to personally remain calm. I want to react calmly. I want to, be able to set myself up for success, and so that I can be calm even when life is crazy. So that applies to life. That applies to business. Calm is my word. Yeah, woo! I would say, what a weird reaction. Sorry. Yes, I think that I did well at the calm thing. It is kind of a weird word, but I think it kind of manifested more in my personal life, which I think, directly ties into your work life as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked up some like cozy hobbies, and I learned about a lot of them on Instagram. If you look up cozy hobbies, there are people like that's all that they talk about, are their cozy hobbies that they do, like adult coloring and things like that. And ironically, though it's kind of silly, I think doing some of those things intentionally just made me more like zen throughout the year. So yeah, I think it helped me definitely be more calm. I'm really grateful for having some moments of self-care like that. So I would say yes.
Crushing it, Mary. 2 for 2. Look at you.
Now the pressure's on. What about you, Logan? Hopefully you're 2 for 2 for your next one.
Listeners, I peeked at my list of my notes I jotted. I'm telling you, I start strong. I don't know how I'm going to finish well. Here's my next one. My next goal for 2024 is to outsource some tasks from my day to day. Mary's making a face because she knows this is big. I currently don't really outsource my day-to-day tasks. And so whether this is a virtual assistant or exploring the idea of an intern, I still am firm that I don't think I want to employ anybody, but there are just certain things that I caught myself doing in 2023 that I realized somebody else could do. And that just frees me up to either focus on more important things or just even take that back as just some free time, because it is a large to-do list. So I want to outsource some tasks. That was perfect, listeners, because behind the scenes, when my past me called Mary out for giving me an on-screen reaction, Mary did behind the scenes as well, because she's laughing because she knows I have not done this. This was an aspirational goal from Logan in 2024. I will say, listeners, at the time of this episode dropping, I will have done a discovery call with a virtual assistant to attempt to potentially have one. We shall see. Thank you. But I will say I'm definitely hitting a little bit of a mental roadblock because they're telling me it's a minimum of 20 hours a week, which, Mary, I don't know if I have 20 hours a week of work for someone like that I can truly outsource, but I want to challenge myself on that. So we shall see. We shall see. Maybe I'll make more progress this year.
Yes, keep us all posted on your journey, Logan. I'm sure you're not the only one with this question, but I'm sorry I laughed at you. I think this is a great goal. I support you.
It was inspiring, and yet I didn't do it. So, all right, Mary, let's listen to your third one.
Well, my next goal is to have quicker response times for, business. My goal really is 0 inbox. And so at the end of the day, you don't have any emails in your inbox. This is going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge. But I would say this is something that needs to improve. So excited to try. Okay. Well, Past Mary was aspirational for sure. But instead of, okay, zero inbox is really hard. And I think we've talked about this before. Like the whole thing of zero inbox is like, if you clear out your inbox, it's because you're responding to emails or filing them. And then people are going to respond. So continually achieving zero inbox is hard because you're just making work flow, but basically. So with that in mind, I don't know that I've often achieved zero inbox. I think my inbox has been in a better place because I heavily now utilize the snooze feature on Gmail, which is the email system that we use. So if you don't snooze your emails, I highly recommend it because I'll let stuff sit. I'm like waiting on somebody's response. It's not time to file it away somewhere else. Or I know I need to follow up in a few days. If I don't hear back from them, I snooze it for like that time and it pops back up in your email inbox. And so for that reason, I have cleared out my inbox more, have not achieved many zero inboxes. But yeah, I think this is a good goal though. I appreciate Past Mary for making it.
Yeah, I think that was a good one. I was about to be like, Mary, what's your inbox right now? Mine's at 10, which I feel like is pretty good for this time of year we're at.
Coming back for the holidays, it's not great. I'm at 25 right now, but it could be worse. It's one page. It's not two.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to my third goal from 2024 and see how I did. My next two, Mary, are going to be personal. I didn't really come up with a ton of business versus personal, but kind of in line with your first one, I guess you shared. I probably could have shared it around the same time, but my goal is to read 55 books this year for 2024. I read 50 last year in 2023. I track it in my planner. I write down every book I read, and I have a master Excel that I track everything. But I have folks who've been asking about Goodreads. So I'm going to throw my Goodreads link here in the show notes. If you want to follow along virtually, I'm currently, I think I got 2 books so far. I try to average 55 books is like 5 to 6 a month. And you will see, and I can visually see on my planner, sometimes I hit it. Mainly when I go to the beach, I nail that goal and I usually do way more. But you can tell when I'm busy because usually I only get 1 or 2 books a month. Womp womp. I didn't do that at all. And if anything, I feel like I caved to the pressure that I was trying to read more than I'd ever read in a year in a while. And I think I clocked in closer to like 32 books. And that's only because this last month in December, I think I was able to slow down a bit and read a little more. So I think I flew a little too close to the book sun, listeners. I was too ambitious. I don't think, and to allude a little bit to, I think a goal I'm going to share later about books is I'm probably setting almost an opposite goal. And I'll leave that in your brains.
Oh, nope. I'm like, tell me more. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear more. And Logan, I just followed you on Goodreads.
I was about to say, don't follow me on Goodreads because I have not updated it.
That's fine. When you're ready, even if a future year, I'm ready.
Great. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it.
Well, I am excited now to listen to my next goal from last year. Another goal of mine is to create an event each year. This is something that has happened, and this applies to my long-term goals for business. So, yeah, that 2024, I want to create another event. Not sure what it is, but I better figure it out soon.
This is outside of the Better Events Conference and your Event Pros on the Go retreat.
That's right. Oh, okay. Yes, this has happened. Actually, when this episode drops, it will be the next week, a week from the date of this episode dropping. I will have the event that I co-created happening. So I planned it with like 3 other local event planning companies that all do fundraising events as well. Perfect example of community over competition. But we're coming together to do one nonprofit mini-con in the Seattle area. And so that would be, I'm going to count it towards that goal for sure.
That counts. That totally counts. I was going to say, if you didn't think of that, I would count it. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to count. However, this is definitely not going to be a goal for my future, which I think is a very different mindset shift that I've had because I've been very passionate about this idea. But I think going into 2025, I won't say my goal, but like that might shift a little bit. So more to come.
We love you guys getting to, in real time, witness change that has happened in just a year.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Mary. I'm very excited for your event.
Thank you.
All right, my fourth and final goal from 2024. Let's hear how I did. My fourth and final goal is a personal one. Kind of, I feel like I'm repeating a little bit talking about health, but my goal by the end of 2024 is to have improved my cardio and physical strength. So again, I think I prioritized health in 2023 in good ways, but I definitely want to just get less out of breath coming up the stairs. And so I don't have a smart way to necessarily measure this. I feel like I'll just know in my body. I know when I move my body, I feel better, and that just helps me show up better at my work. So okay. I was hard on myself when I first heard this, being like, no, I did not do this, but I think in comparison to where I was when I set that goal, I am indeed stronger and more fit. I do think I prioritized movement better in 2024. If anything, I discovered that because of my foot pain that I've had in the past, I'm not allowed to run really unless like for kickball and my small things, but I can get my cardio going really intensely, just even walking on a treadmill at an incline and doing my Orange Theory. So I more just laugh because Mary, we talk about having to learn the same lessons over and over again. I want to like build on this goal for this year. So I think I did it. If anything, I think I definitely had the mindset shift that while working out makes me more tired, it does energize me in different ways. So I think I was pretty consistent this year with trying to get at least 3 workouts in. Wasn't a metric I had there, but at least 3 moving my body in some way.
I think it's a great goal. We love a health goal of some sort. And I think it's really interesting to see how that shifts kind of every year for people and what that looks like. But I love this. It's great. I think you got to take your win. Now we have one more goal from me, one final one. And that is to hire another employee, like an additional employee. I have one. She's amazing. It's time for another one if a couple things happen. So by end of Q1 this year, I should know if it's happening or not. So I'm interested to see when we listen back to these in 2025 if this happened or not. It's very contingent upon a couple things, so we'll see. But it is a goal that I have. My gosh, past Mary. I'm not gonna brag, but I think I crushed these goals this
Mary,
year.
you really did. I like tried not to pre-listen to them, but I was like, I got a hint of yours and a hint of mine, and I was like, dang, Mary crushed it. It's
Oh
not a
my
competition,
gosh.
but you crushed
No.
them.
Thank you. So yes, I was lucky enough to hire an employee in March of 2024 who's still here, and she's amazing, and we just have a wonderful team of 3. And so wow, that's so cool to listen to. I have to say, I really enjoyed this because I was reflecting on 2025, like making goals, which is what we're going to talk about shortly, and feeling very unmotivated. Logan, I think I texted you about this maybe, and but partly because I was having a hard time identifying like any wins from 2024. I don't know. I was just in that mindset when I'm like, nothing worked, nothing happened. So this is kind of fun. It's a fun exercise. But even if you only accomplish a couple of your goals from the last year, it's still a win. So we're all
I
winners.
Yeah, and it's I mean I love it, and I will make a playlist on YouTube that's easy if you want to go back and listen. I one day when I have time, Mary, and maybe I'll just save it till we've done this for like 10 years, is I do want to go back and listen in like chronological order our like 2022 goals, our 2023 like reflection on goals, and then new goal. Like I just want to see how it ebbs and flows, and if we continue to be setting ones in similar themes or different ones, or I don't know. It's just
That
it
would be
is very
fun.
cool to have the time capsule.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be fun.
All right. So, Mary, I'll go first with my first goal for 2025. And this is on the business side of things. I picked a word of the year last year. We're continuing that trend. Last year, 2024, you guys already heard was savor. This year, my word is refine. And so I had a business lessons learned. If you listen to our episode last week, and this goal is directly related to that lesson learned, is I'm going to say yes to more events that are the bold typeface right fit. And I think my like calibration is getting better and better, but I constantly want to get to improve. And so I'm trying not to do more. I just want to refine the work that I'm doing, as well as prioritizing some of those higher earning events, just to help me grow my business and continue to specialize in the area of events that I've found that I'm enjoying with show calling and event producing.
I love it. That's awesome. My next goal is to only look at my phone twice during the work days. which I think I'm gonna
Whoa.
laugh at myself in 2026 about this. But it's a goal because I am tired of people demanding my time. I envy the time of our parents growing up when it was harder to get a hold of people. There weren't cell phones, email wasn't super used. I mean, first of all, I don't really know how business and stuff got done. That sounds like a lot of work. But I'm going to respect that past time a little bit and only try to look at my phone twice during the workdays, once during the morning and once during the afternoon. If I'm actively in an event, different situation, but I think that I can resolve most things during those times. Haven't done great at it today, but I think that there are certain days when it is possible.
That's we love an aspirational goal. And maybe, you're on a roll from last year. So who knows? Let's speak it into being. My next goal is a little bit in line with, I feel like now listening back to what your goal from last year was, but I want to reconnect with more folks that are awesome and great at what they do. Both just selfishly because I like hanging out with people who are great and awesome. But I'm going to put a metric on it that I want to do once a month, virtual or in-person coffees. So I should say this is all in like the professional setting. So much of what my business has like grown and evolved, I feel like has been some serendipity of me reaching out to the right person at the right time. And so I think I want to reconnect with folks both from a business perspective, but also just like personally and get inspiration from what other people are doing in the industry.
I think that's so awesome. It's so fun to be able to like take time and get to know and learn from other people in the industry. And it's hard to do that sometimes when you're so busy. So that's an awesome goal. Love
Yeah.
that.
You just get busy and forget. And then I go, how have I not talked to this person in 6 months? So
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Awesome. My next goal is this is a business goal, to do what we do better. So enhance our services. And so this is a shift versus my 2024 goal, which was to create a new event every year. That seems to still just like keep happening naturally. So maybe it will, but I want to take a moment to not stop, but just enhance what we're already doing versus continually trying to add on new things. I've been really into diversifying business, and I still think that's important. But for 2025, I want us to just enhance what we're already doing and do it better. And I think that will serve us in the years to come, hopefully.
Another good one. My third and final business related goal is that I'm going to launch a show caller series. I haven't figured out a fun title. I feel like I'm playing around with a couple options, but this is a series where I want to interview other show callers and one to shine a light on the show calling role and help folks who are trying to get into that role on educate them on what it is and just educate event pros on what show calling is so they hire them because I think they're so crucial and hidden in plain sight. And it is just one more piece of content though that I'm adding to like our podcast and YouTube. And it's not necessarily an event, a revenue generating thing, but I just have had this on my brain for the last couple months. And I'm going to make sure it happens this year. So I'm going to launch a show caller series.
Mic drop. That's amazing. And we're all thrilled to come and listen to it. That is super, super exciting. Honestly, it is really exciting because I know you've been mentioning this and dropping hints for a little while. So yay. My next and last business goal is this is very specific, speak at the Northwest event show. So this will either happen or it won't. There's really no in between. My reason for that is the one event that I spoke at in 2024 that I actually got business from. And that's maybe off the top of my head, the only time I've been able to speak at something where I've gotten business from it. I could be wrong, but like that I'm recalling. And so that to me felt like a good use of my time for that reason. And so I would like to speak at that event again in 2025.
Yes, Northwest Event Show. Have Mary back. Maybe Logan as well. Maybe the podcast. Who knows?
Yes. Who knows?
We'll manifest it.
Yes.
My fourth goal that I have here for 2025, and I feel like we still haven't gotten comfortable saying 2025, Mary. So saying that I'm like to happen by 2026. But my fourth goal is to work with a personal trainer and identify a summer or fall fitness goal. And I feel like this is building on my goal from last year about health, where 2024 helped me find like the pieces of things that I like to do. I was a college athlete, and so I definitely have the tools in my own toolkit to make my own workouts and make my own program. But I've just learned I make too many decisions in life. Fitness should not be one of them. I just want to show up and execute somebody else's plan. They have the long term strategy of where I want to go. And so by the end of 2025, I want to have worked with a personal trainer, and I would have liked to have hit some goal that I will set for the summer, fall, even winter. My slow step I'm taking for this first quarter of 2025 is that, you'll laugh at this, Mary, had ChatGPT make me a weightlifting program, and I'm going to do it for the first 3 months, and we're going to see how I feel. Because I'm not saying ChatGPT can be a personal trainer, but it just might be the baby step I need to start to test out, is it even feasible for me to follow a structured plan before I hire someone to actually do it?
I love we talked about this before, like a good fitness or health goal. So that's awesome. It's something I've always wanted to do as a personal trainer. So you'll have to keep us posted. But in the meantime, ChatGPT, a personal trainer, let's see how it goes. Excited to hear.
Yeah, and I gave it feedback. It tried to give me a 6 times a week workout schedule, and I went, "No,
You were like,
ChatGPT,
no.
with what
Yeah.
time? What time am I gonna do that?" I said, "I can lift twice a week. Give me full body workouts for 2 times a week." And it did. And they have, I mean, I was sore. I've done 2 weeks of it already, and I'm sore. So,
Oh,
we'll see.
wow. That's awesome. I'll go with the health related one too. This is a audacious goal, and who knows what this actually means. But my goal is for the first half of this year, so now until June, to be in the best shape of my life. That means nutrition and, health, exercise, all the things. Along with that, I'm just having a goal to be like less sedentary. So I'm trying to stand more or move around more, all the things. I am sitting currently while recording this because I have been standing during other things. Now I need to sit because I did a leg workout this morning and it's a lot. So I'm motivated for the new year. I hope I can stick with this. We all know when we travel and do events that is a really hard thing to accomplish. But I love doing Heather Robertson's YouTube videos. If you're familiar with her, or if you're not, she's amazing. She does like strength programs. I do it from home with like dumbbells and stuff that I have. I'm obsessed with it. So I'll link it in the show notes if you're interested. It's like totally free. That's also why I love it. But I joined an accountability group. And so I think that actually might help me meet my goal. We'll see.
Another great goal. Mary and I are going to be moving and grooving in 2025. My final goal for 2025 is similar to reading last year, but like I said, I hinted that I had an opposite goal almost, is I want to read books to find 3 new all-time favorites. So I'm reading less for volume and more for discovery to find all-time favorites. And I say this because I don't keep every book that I read. I have a select number of books that I keep in my possession after I've read them, because to me they're all-time favorites, and they're ones I either want to, I don't really reread books, but I always say maybe I would. I also like to gift them to other people or use them as inspiration to give them to folks. But I also just like looking at them. They make me happy if they're a book that I really, really liked. And so now my goal this year is, I don't care how many books. I could only read 3 books, maybe, who knows? But I want to read books to find 3 all-time new favorites.
That's awesome. What a good goal. Sometimes I listen to audiobooks and then I buy them when I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm gonna have to do this, like read this again or listen to it. Ugh. I'm excited to hear what your 3 books are at the end of the year. My last and final goal that's personal is to enhance some skill. I've said this before, my goals aren't very smart, but there's no metrics involved, but to enhance some skill, something for fun, like, or personal. And so, like, for example, Spanish. I've been really trying to do Spanish and Duolingo and all the things, and I haven't been consistent, but I have lately tried to be consistent and hope that I can really enhance that skill, or perhaps another skill. Like, I used to really be involved in music and stuff like that and kind of let that fall off. And I'm like, maybe I want to get more into that. I don't know yet. I'm going to kind of wait and see what I need in my life or what I feel, but I want to enhance something in my personal life. That's a skill.
I like your broad goals. I still think you pleasantly surprise yourself when we listen back to them in the
Hopefully.
future.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Before we end this episode talking about the podcast and our goal, or listening back to what our goals were last year, Mary and I are going to hop on this trend train of sharing the ins and outs for 2025. Now, Mary and I did not compare notes on this, so I feel like we should start with, maybe I'll share my outs, Mary, and then you share your outs, and then we'll end on a high note with the ins. My out list is much shorter than my in list, which makes me feel like I'm optimistic for the future, or I'm more excited about the ins. But for me, for what is out in 2025 is perfectionism in a negative way. Also out is doom scrolling after 8 p.m. I do this a lot. I'm trying to not do it, so it's going to be out. Also, middle seats. I sometimes get stuck with the middle seat on the airplane when I fly next to my partner. So I'm trying to get done with that this year. And stress spiraling about the future. I've alluded to some stress that I'm having about family members' health, and I'm out. I don't want to stress spiral about it. I'm controlling what I can control, and other people's health is not one of them. How about you,
Those
Mary?
are
What are
great.
your outs?
My outs. Okay, my out is, I don't know how to paraphrase this, but like people demanding your time, which is obviously part of what my goals were. But whether that's, I think it's more of a feeling, like of that feeling of demand. Um, the hustle culture in the sense of always trying to, I don't know, get get the next thing, do the next thing or whatever. I think that there is value in growth. We've talked about that a lot for the Better Events Conference. Um, but I'm trying to remember that I can be like happy with where I am while still pursuing growth opportunities. I feel like that's different than hustle. So, out with that mindset. Something else that I could say is out is traditional like sit down events. If we're going like event industry wide, I think it might be really cool to just see how people can I don't know, move around and just do interesting things. That's not very concrete, but hopefully you know what I mean. My next out would be overscheduling your event travel. And I mean, sometimes it's necessary. I also know I'm about to do it a few times in the new year, but within reason. So I know we're back to back to back to back a lot, but like giving yourself some breathing room. And let's do one more because I think I could probably just keep going. So the next thing would be ignoring like accessibility and those types of things for events. I think that we've talked about accessibility for years now, but every time I bring it up, it's still a surprise to folks. So I think that should be out is ignoring it. We need to start making some change. There you go.
Those are some great outs. I'm going to do quick hits for my ins, and I'm going to give, let's say I'm going to give no context. That might just be fun. Because it's a pretty lengthy list. But all right, for me, ins in 2025, prioritizing my health, trusting my gut, posting more, moving my body with strength in mind, fruit with breakfast, connecting with friends, Australia, Portugal, showing up for family, protein coffee, Spanx Air Essentials, which I'm modeling right now for you if you're watching on YouTube, orthotic inserts, and my final in for 2025 are hell yes events because we're trusting our gut this year.
All right. My ins for 2025 are protein. I was going to say protein before I heard your protein. Calling my family, emergency savings, quick responses, baths, revenue generating activities, finding things that light me up. And that's all that I have. I'm sure that there are more.
It's just a quick hitter. I love it. Again, listeners, hopefully you took some time. It was kind of fun exercise to do ins and outs. I feel like I'm going to add this to my like mid-year check-in to see what are my ins and outs as I'm halfway through 2025. But we'd love to hear from you. Let us know on social media on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn what your ins and outs are for 2025. And now, Mary, I think it's time to listen back to past us to hear how we did about the goals that we set for the podcast of what we wanted to achieve in 2024.
Definitely. So our first goal is to hire a professional to find sponsorships for the podcast and the conference. So really, we want to test an aggressive sponsorship strategy for 2024. It's terrifying, I think, a little bit, but we want to try. So that's a goal.
Yeah. And like big one, listeners, we're thinking of, and by big one, I mean more, we're looking for like a season long sponsor, something like that. I think we're just also admitting that between Mary and I, it's just not our favorite part of what we do here. So we are going to take our own advice and ask somebody else to come in and help us. So our next goal for 2024, I think this one is a more attainable goal, is that we talk about that on the podcast, is consistency and just making sure that we're continuing with these weekly episodes. As you hear with our business goals, both Mary and I we're growing and we're evolving as businesses. But I think this is something that consistently brings us joy. And so making sure that we are giving you new episodes every single week on Wednesdays, all the way up until we take our holiday break in December.
Absolutely. And our next goal is to launch one passive income stream for the podcast, whether that's through resources or a private community, which we've kind of talked about before, at least around the time of the conference. And so we'll see what it's going to be. We're doing research right now. We are in research mode. So let's see, one passive income stream.
That's I feel like that's the big hairy goal of
Yeah.
of these 4 that we have, of like something new. But yeah, listeners, we want to try something, whether it's creating more content or just getting more connection points with you throughout the year, kind of harnessing some of what we had at the conference and spreading it out throughout the year. Which, speaking of our last goal, first conference went great. If you haven't listened to our recap back in episode 137, you should go back and listen to it to hear kind of our key takeaways and things that surprised us. But we will, by the end of 2024, we will host the second Better Events Conference. It's happening. We're going to manifest it.
Honestly, we did pretty good. I'm proud of us.
And I would like to say, okay, so the first one we said was sponsorship, which we did end up making the investment. So I think we can check that off, that we should say 4 out of 4, because I feel like we did the investment. To be candid with you listeners, it didn't pay off in the sense that we, in the avenue we hoped it would, but we did end up partnering with Tourism Richmond this year, which was a pretty significant partner. And I would like to think maybe us setting that goal manifested that into being. What do you think, Mary?
Yeah, I think so. So you're right. I think we should count it. Definitely, we did what we could, and then we launched the community, the Better Events Podcast community. So we met that goal as well.
Yep. And we were consistent. We continue to post our weekly episodes to you guys all the way up until right before the holiday. And we had our second, I will say, successful Better Events Conference.
Woo!
Thanks
for your help, everybody, too.
We're happy. We're happy. It's a good thing. Now, Mary, what do you want to tell our listeners about our podcast goals for 2025?
Well, for 2025, you all are going to have to stay tuned because our goals are coming. We're not going to share them today, ironically, even though we're in our goal setting episode. Logan and I have a retreat that we love to do. So we're going to go do our retreat and we're going to connect on our goals and we're going to come back to you. So more to come on that.
Yeah, that might be like a surprise bonus drop. We'll see, listeners, how we like sharing them with you. It does make us all feel connected. So don't worry. We will tell you, just know Mary and I need to talk about them ourselves first.
Yeah, we're just not going to surprise each other in this moment about them. So
exactly. Well, you might hear different goals, and that's the beauty of this. So stay tuned for our podcast 2025 goals. But with that, another fun episode, Mary, and I can't believe we're already at our bonus tip.
We are. I have our bonus tip for today. So this is about an app called Telegram. Logan, have you heard of it? A lot of people have used it. It's similar to WhatsApp, very similar to WhatsApp or Signal if you use that. Well, I didn't know what Telegram was until I recently joined a couple groups in it. And it's fun because I think you can it's, I don't know, a little more colorful. There's like more stickers and stuff than WhatsApp. It definitely serves a similar purpose. I don't know if you'll have opinions about Telegram, but I just found out about it. And so I'm sharing it with you in case you didn't know. If you need something similar to WhatsApp or Signal, Telegram is another option and we'll link it in the show notes. This is not sponsored. I've just enjoyed the fun components that it has.
I love fun color. Thank you so much, Mary, for your bonus tip. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Better Events Pod. You can send us an email at bettereventspod@gmail.com. You can also connect with Mary and I directly on LinkedIn. Just let us know that you heard about us from the podcast. We love hearing from you. And if you want to find more Better Events content, join our private community on Substack and get access to monthly bonus episodes. And as always, we want to thank you for listening, and we'll be back in your feeds again next Wednesday.